All right, hello and welcome to a cheeky conversation with Stone Broken. In particular, Rich and Robyn. Why am I waving this pen at you like that? It's rude to point. In particular, a conversation with Rich and Robyn. Now, their third record, Revelation, is absolutely brilliant. And I got a cheeky little window of 20, 25 minutes to converse with them. So, I mean, the other thing I should probably say is, hello, my name is John. Thanks for being here. Please consider going to whatwasthatradio.com if you wanted to dive into, if you would like to dive into, if you wanted to dive into, if you would like to dive. That's enough of that. Pure modern rock discovery. I'm doing this again. Why? I'll tell you why. I've been recording multiple of these on a Sunday morning and my brain's gone a bit sideways. Please just cut to it. All right. Press day.
Yes.
Are you absolutely fucking exhausted yet?
No, it's okay. It's all good.
We're just in a sandwich.
Yeah.
Energy.
No, and I was just saying to those watching us in the chat, Rich and Robyn, everybody, it was so wonderful that you messaged on Instagram and said, oh, hang about, we've got some more stuff. I'm not surprised by that. So it's good for me to know because I just adore what you two are part of, what you've produced over the years. And I could easily speak to you if we got comfortable for hours and hours, like you allude to with Dan in the press release notes. So no, just
thank you.
Firstly, we were just running through Revelation and Black Sunrise, and I realized I had this in the cupboard, so I went and grabbed this to fit in with the with the video shoot.
Nice.
I look like a bit of a fucking Easter egg right now, but that's I'll take it off. But the biggest thing for me, just to pump you up a little bit, is that reading through these release notes and you mentioning over and over again, looking to push yourselves and looking to expand, looking to try new routes and avenues. And that's all I've seen from your band in the last decade. And the one thing that whenever anyone says to me, oh, what about Stone Broken? I just say, I believe you. I'm with you. Right, Rich, I think you're such a great storyteller. And it seems that in your press release, you put the utmost pressure on yourself to continue to be that. And what I will say in summary and context for who I am, opening up into the next 20 minutes here, where you will hopefully speak more than a verbal diarrhea-a-thon that I am, is that I moved from Malmesbury near Swindon to the west coast of Canada nearly 13 years ago, and always wanted to be on the radio. Radio 1 was never going to hire me at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old when I was sending out demos, but I also...
You have got to try.
Well, then they hired that kid at 16 to do the chart show, and I thought I was close, but then he fucked it up.
Yeah.
Because he said that word on the radio. That's not going to go down too well. But I moved to this country for a multitude of reasons. The most important was to try and find some grounding and try and find out who the fudge I was, because I won't go into the full detail of the story, but something very horrible happened to me when I was 10, and it really confused my mind and my body to how I'm meant to grow, who I'm meant to be, how do I present myself, what do I say, what can't I say? And we won't go in, but for trigger warning, being abused sexually by two men that I never knew who they were and could never find them again.
Wow.
And so the reason why I attach to your lyrics so much is not necessarily that you're singing about that at all, but it's the stories that you tell and the way that you shape them and mold them that I'm all in with it. There's a lot of artists that I feel write for necessity to fit in with the current surroundings, whereas I feel that you've always written from the heart and soul. And so that's what intrigues me that's my little setup to jump into this process about what was this pressure you're putting on yourself and where did it come from and how did you work through that in producing and writing the album?
I think the pressure comes from the feedback that we've had from fans and the way that it connects with people. We've had lots of people come through to us, and we've had some people thank us for writing a song. We've had some people say that, a certain song got them through a particular point in their life that was tough, or, there's a multitude of reasons. And that there made me think, oh my God, people are actually listening to the lyrics and what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And it was that realization. I mean, I think as musicians, it can be quite easy to almost put a bit of a front on, or to have almost a different persona out there. But I think what we wanted to do was we just wanted to be honest with people, because we're just human beings who happen to write songs, and you know, I think the pressure came from almost putting it out there and then having people respond to it.
Yeah, I think
felt like there was a bit of a responsibility then.
Yeah.
And
but the first album was fine.
The first album was absolutely fine because we were just writing and that was that. And then, like I say, people started to get connected with the songs, and then so I thought, okay, well, the next record now I know that people will, you know, be listening and trying to get that connection.
Yeah.
And that just kind of lives in the back of my brain a little bit, you know, and I wouldn't say that it kind of influences the songwriting, but it is always there. You know, it's always a thought of, you know, I hope people can interpret this in their own way, and I hope that people can relate to it in their own way. And one thing I've never wanted to do is push something down someone's throat.
Yeah.
You know, this is what this song means, and it can't be anything else. What I want people to do is I want people to interpret what we write and kind of have it mean something to them.
Yeah, 100%.
So everyone's kind of got their own personal attachment to it, and trying to get that balance can be tough, and it does make you second guess things. I guess in the studio. For this record, the lyrics were a major part of what we were doing. And we were working with a guy called Dan Weller, who in his own right is a fantastic songwriter.
Yeah,
and has a massive CV of just all of his accolades in music. So he came in fairly early on in the process, and he got stuck right in and told me what I needed to rewrite, basically. You know, and what I should focus a bit more attention on, and really push me as a lyricist and a songwriter to get to that next level.
Yeah. Even before Dan, though, do you, Robyn, recall the earliest moments? Like, how does the process go before Dan? You know, you just at home writing bits and, okay, Robyn, what do you think of this? And spread it out to the others, and Chris, and what do you think of this? What's the earliest memory of this process for you, Robyn?
Well, the first record, it was the first band you'd ever sang in.
Yeah.
And so literally, I'm talking way back, Rich would go in the car outside of our rehearsal room and just sit there and write, because he was so, I don't know, was you like embarrassed maybe, or shy?
I guess. Yeah.
Because you were still finding your own voice, was it?
Yeah.
So that's literally the earliest I can remember, like you just jotting down ideas and then coming back into the rehearsal room. Okay, guys, I've got this. Let's try this. And I mean, it's always sounded great. And I think when you've been stuck for little bits, like you've literally reached the end of the end, you know, and you'll always come to us and be like, okay, so what do you think of this? Would you change anything? Blah, blah, blah. And with this latest album, I feel as though we got stuck in with the lyrics as well a bit more this time around.
It was way more of a collaboration this time around.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, the album sort of started to take shape. We were on and off the road a lot in 2019, and that's when we were writing. So we had bursts of inspiration on the road, and we had bursts of inspiration because of home life. So it kind of came together that way. And generally now I think we have a much more collaborative way of writing.
And when you went about trying to get Dan, was this a sort of, you drew up a list of who you might want to work with, or you've got friends in around and management and whatnot that are like, well, maybe this is who we want to work with? How did that come to be? Because it's one thing that he does very well is create textured and just booming, almost, you know, that aggressive pulsating sound that he's got. And that's what was most exciting for me in going, oh, this Stone are about to take a leap up into the bam bam, you know what I mean? Like that. And he captures everything so well that nothing is lost. It's all layered so beautifully, but it's just so exhilarating the way that he mixes records, whether it's Enter Shikari and the list you could go through some of my favorite bands he's worked with. So how did that process come about? Well,
we did have a list of people that you know we thought would be a good addition to the SB camp for this record. And it was actually our label who said, you know, have you ever heard of Dan Weller? And yes, we'd heard of his work. And they said, well, let's just arrange for you guys to meet up. And we did. We were in London, and then we met up with Dan in a busy bar. And it was the most awkward encounter you can imagine, because we couldn't hear each other speaking. The noise levels in there were just, it was too much. So we ended up coming out of that bar an hour later, none the wiser.
Yeah.
You know, and luckily, Dan felt the same. And a few days later, he sent us a message like, look, guys, we didn't really get to talk about what I wanted to talk about. Any chance that I can come up to you guys in the West Midlands and have an actual chat? I was like, yeah, man, like, I mean, you take your life into your own hands, come into the West Midlands. But feel free to come along. And we did. And he was in this very room that we're in right now. And we just talked for about an hour about nonsense.
Yeah.
About what we were binging on Netflix.
Yeah. Just getting to know each other.
Yeah. What we were into. And then we started talking about the record and where he felt, you know, the vision should be and what we could do together. Yeah. And it was pretty much at that, actually it was when he made the trip to the West Midlands. I thought, that's a brave soul. this dude wants to do the record.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, it's a bonus that he's just a great producer and songwriter as well, because at the end of it all, he is a really nice human being. You know, that and for me that goes a long way. He was passionate about the record, he was passionate about Stonebroken, and super involved with how we needed to move this forward. And like you say, when it comes to the production side of things, where everything's laid up, that's exactly what we were after. We wanted to be Stonebroken, but the next level of Stonebroken, the better Stonebroken, and Dan managed to bring that to us. And again, we collaborated with some of that. There were things that we tried that didn't work, and there were things that we tried that definitely did work. It was Dan's idea to have Robyn singing on this record a lot more, which I think has brought so much to the songs. Yeah,
I think it's definitely got that another layer to it. Yeah, you know, and the call and response stuff that we've got going on sounds awesome, like in my opinion. But yeah, it just adds that next layer, doesn't it? And and different ear candy throughout the songs. It's quite nice.
And how, because this is what's interesting though, is for me, you know, I left commercial radio because I wanted to keep growing, I wanted to keep pushing myself. And I realized that by going independent, it's almost like starting all over. And it has been, but it's been about pushing myself into, okay, I've got to learn these. You know, YouTube is an amazing tool in 2022, right? Learning how to do everything from production techniques and make sure I'm on top of that, or design techniques, etc. But when it comes to actually working with someone, I want to feel like they're almost like a brother from another mother, for lack of a better phrase. I haven't said that in fucking years. I don't know where that's come from. But you know what I mean? I want to feel like we're on the same page, and it's by the time you put into connecting. But when you've only got 1 or 2 hours to do that, I mean, then it becomes a gut instinct. And what was the moment maybe when you're actually at it in the studio, when you're like, this is exactly why we chose to work with Dan?
Well, he was here with us for part of the writing process. Yeah. And literally he came in, and it didn't feel like there was any kind of hierarchy in the room.
No, he became a fifth member basically of the band,
and it was almost instant. But I think the time where we truly bonded was when we switched on the PlayStations and we played Call of Duty. That was the moment, because what we'd do is we would sort of intensely record or demo and write for sort of 3 or 4 hours, and it would be super intense, and then he would literally turn around and say, Call of Duty. And we'd be like, yeah, let's do half an hour of just shooting each other. And that's and that was kind of how we bonded, and how we got through the whole process, because making a record is difficult and you need to break that up. And he understands that. He's very much into the psychological aspect of being in a band. Yeah. I mean, he's played every part in it, you know, producer, being the band himself. So he knows what you're feeling and what you're going through in the studio. So he's very relatable in that aspect. So I think really it was fairly immediate, wasn't it? He felt I felt as though he was at ease coming here, and we were at ease with him being here.
Yeah, well, he enjoyed my cooking, so.
What did you cook him?
Oh my god, I was cooking.
What
Yeah,
didn't she cook?
spag bol, chili, chicken wraps, and all sorts to me.
Yeah.
We just, yeah.
Although he did literally get addicted to, was it Spanish? It was
Paella.
Paella. He got absolutely addicted, but it wasn't something that Robyn was cooking. He got addicted to Tesco's finest prawn paella.
It is banging too.
Yeah, no, I used to work at Tesco's as a teenager before
really?
I moved here.
Right.
Fucking produce team leader over here.
Oh, really?
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, where did it all go wrong? Shit. No. Isn't that something though for Dan? He's like, man, this band's great. Getting free food. I get to play Call of Duty. Fucking barely working. But that's the key, because it's like, the bands that I've been in, and I remember being, 15 years ago. I mean, I had just turned 35 yesterday. That's why there's all these purple balloons and everything behind me.
Congrats.
But
Happy birthday for yesterday.
thank you. I remember, the pressure that you put on yourself when you know you've got a day to do 5 songs, and I play drums, and it's like, how does that even how? So you go through it, you're like, okay, now we're just going to do live off the floor for these ones, are we? When you look back at what is only 6-7 years ago when it comes to the debut, but is my Zoom frozen? No, we're good. The stages of evolution of the band, when you look back, how does that compare to the first few demos and EPs and record, and then working with Dan?
It's, well, the first time I went into the studio, all the songs was done, wasn't they? It was literally, we demoed everything possible.
Yeah.
And then went straight into the studio and was it a week or?
We spent a week because the first record was actually built, but with 2 EPs put together. So we did an EP, and that was a week of time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That we did, and then we decided to go back and do another EP, which was another week of time. But then we just put them together, and that created the debut record. Yeah.
Whereas this album, we basically lived together for, was it 2 weeks? At Vader.
Yeah, we did. So we recorded this at multiple studios as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, we basically went to a studio where we literally moved in temporarily to get it done.
Yeah.
And it went from like previously where we'd go into the studio at 10 in the morning, then leave at sort of 5-6 o'clock, to we get up, have breakfast, get a shower, go straight to the studio for about 9.
Yeah.
And then we would literally go until we were done for the day. And that could be midnight.
Which is amazing to have that freedom, of, I've just got this inspiration for a melody. Can we get it down right now?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what time of day, you're not on that clock as such.
I mean, the biggest factor in this record was COVID dropped right in the middle.
Yeah.
Which actually halted recording for a while. But it was a blessing in disguise, because for the few months that we couldn't record, we actually just went back into writing. And that's when we wrote the song Revelation. So literally that break made the album that it is now.
Yeah.
So I think that was an important thing, to have that extra time and the extra freedom to do that, which we haven't had previously, because we've always been on a really tight deadline beforehand.
That's it, yeah, exactly. We've definitely had more freedom, I think, time-wise, with this album. And just experimenting with everything, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry to interrupt you then for a second, Robyn, but I don't know if anyone else noticed what Rich just did. I'm gonna do what Rich just did. I need to turn on my second soundboard here. When you went, this is what I heard. And I don't know if you did this on purpose. This is what your voice does, but I need to get the answer to it. So if you're like regular, if I'm like regular like this, you just went, oh. And it was like a split second. Did anyone else notice that in the chat? Like, that's amazing. You've got like natural pitch shift built into your voice.
You're too musical.
Jesus, can you record him snoring? How do you sound when do you snore in arpeggiation? I don't understand. Snore, 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 snore. Sorry, I couldn't. Like, I knew. I'll let you process that.
I genuinely didn't notice myself. So, but I'll keep an eye on that though.
I can't help but analyze the shit out of everything. So the way I go about when I'm really into a song, I'll listen to it 30, 40 times. I'll make sure I'm in different attitudes, happy, sad, all in between, whether it's a rainy or sunny day. Then go through and dissect each track, whether it's each guitar, each backing vocal, whatever it might be. And I was just like, oh, I couldn't not. It's all from a loving place, and obviously high British sarcasm, but no. Anyway, let's go and play some Call of Duty. What were some of the programs that you've got addicted to lately on Netflix? Then let's take a sidestep from the record chat, 'cause you've been doing this all flipping evening. What's your favorite shows right now?
To be fair, at the moment we're watching like reruns of The Office US.
Yeah, we are.
All right.
Yeah.
But Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Can't wait for the new season for that.
The Boys.
The Boys. I don't think that's on Netflix though.
No, it's on Amazon.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to the 3rd season of that.
Yeah. Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
You gotta love a bit of
Yeah,
Brooklyn
it's
Nine-Nine.
classic.
Yeah.
Do you ever? Is there any songs on the record that? Where have you drawn from for this album? Obviously, it's not the full album's not out till the 22nd, but with the 2 songs we've got so far and the new single out tomorrow with Devil You Know, are you drawing from a place of your own experience? I mean, like you were saying with Revelation, to go back to that before I got distracted by your is that that's what I adore about. Look, the pandemic has been shit. It's been strange, but what I love about it from a selfish music nerd point of view is the amount of authenticity that's come out of band's production. Because now you've got to change it. You can't go to the big studio. You've got to try and do a new way of doing it. Maybe you've got a record that was pretty much done right before it starts. You can go, well, hang on a second. I think this has now energized a part of me that wants to write a song that then actually, as it turns out, ties the whole thing together. Maybe becomes the album title and the lead single. So that's what I find really intriguing about the pandemic, is it's given people a chance to really take stock. And whether that's positive or negative, I know I've gone through an awful lot of my psyche and tried to figure out and shake away and get going again. But where do you write from before the pandemic? Where was this coming from? And then with those additions of songs produced during it, how do you feel that's maybe marinated or shaped or changed the initial vision?
I think beforehand, everything would be a feeling. And I would try and tell a story the best way that I could. But when the pandemic hit, we almost lost control of everything, because we were at the hands of this thing that had just taken over the whole world. And I think it was I'm not sure that the best word to use really.
Well, we went through a variety of emotions in the studio.
We did.
You know, like we was on this kind of roller coaster of discovery and what then we had to face on that road to discovery. Do you know what I mean? So we had definite highs, but then we had the lows as well, like, you know, frustration and not being able to do stuff because of the whole pandemic. So I think it's a mixture of everything for this album.
I mean, I'd say compared to our last 2 records, this one is it's got a much darker feel. And I think that probably does come from the uncertainty that the pandemic brought to us. Everything, we didn't know where we were going to record things next. We didn't know when we'd be able to get a next writing session in. And that does have an impact on how you're feeling and therefore the words that are coming out. And I feel that did have an impact.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was challenged by Dan to revisit lyrics and be a little bit more expressive, to be a little bit more descriptive, to try and paint a picture in people's minds, rather than just tell people, I'm sat in a dark room. That, you know, it's more about kind of being in a dark space and a flickering candle. Do you know what I mean? It's about painting the picture for people, and that's the one thing that I really had to refine that craft really quickly. Yeah, because it was a different way of writing, but also it was quite empowering to be able to do that, because it was fit. Instead of your mind leading the way, you are telling it to work, to do something different, to try something that you don't usually do. It takes you out your comfort zone, not just personally but mentally. And I think that was the good thing about this record, is that we went through so many things that we hadn't been through before. It wasn't scary anymore to try something new. Yeah, because we're in a completely new situation. It didn't feel as though we can't try this because we haven't done it before. We're in the middle of something that we've never been in before. Yeah, so why not just experiment and see what works? And I think it was quite liberating getting to that point. I think
100%.
is where I kind of landed mentally on the whole situation.
And that's what I was saying before you two joined me, to those watching in the stream, and thank you all for being here, is that for me, Stone Broken is the lotto over here, like the BC Lotto, like the National Lottery. I think their catchphrase is "Know your limit, play within it." And I did cheekily apply that to you guys, because for me, Stone Broken, what I've always liked about you is that you've never tried to punch way above. You're more about the slow journey. The growth is going to come naturally. Just dip the toe.
Yeah.
Like the way that I approach every day since as I was a kid, and all the battles I have, is it's like, if I can just match the last day before, I'm not looking to try and lunge forward. Let's just make sure the left and the right's back on par with each other again.
Yeah.
And that's what excites me so much and tenfold about the new record, is that, especially from the first two songs we've heard, and I mean, I've heard the whole thing because I'm very thankful to Looters and your record label and management for allowing me access and trusting me to do so through Universal and Co. But one thing in the last few minutes here, I'm going to make sure that you get to your next chat here on time, is looking through the press release. Robyn, take me back to that moment when Kieran gets sent a mix, and then Kieran responds and says, "Oh wow, how." For those watching that don't know, what is this situation that's made you both smile, and why is it still so awesome and warm to you both?
So it was the first time that I went into the vocal booth, and we laid some vocals out of mine. And Kieran got sent the track over to see, how he liked it and how it was
General
progressing.
feedback, wasn't it,
general
really?
feedback. And he sent a message to Dan. He was like, "So who have you got in to sing then? Who have you hired?" And I started laughing. I was like, "Kieran, it's me." He was like, "But you don't sound like Black Country." I was like, "Well, I'm not going to sing in a Black Country accent." But yeah, we're still laughing to this day about it. It's quite nice actually, and it's quite a nice compliment that he didn't think it was me. He thought it was someone professional. Well, I say professional, but like I don't class myself as a singer as such.
No.
Like I class myself as a backup singer or a BVs and obviously a drummer. So to have that comment is quite nice.
Yeah, and I mean, Kieran, bless him, he has lots of these little moments where he is funny without trying to be funny.
Yeah.
Is
he Carl Pilkington point 2.0?
That's literally Kieran. That's how he works, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he will say something totally innocent. Has Dan got in a session singer? Like, no. I mean, put two and two together, Keith. we have a female in the band.
Kieran's just sat at home playing bass like, shit, I wish I was in a band someday. Damn it. I'd love to be in a band.
Yeah, literally.
No, I love it. And I think really, just to make sure that you're on time for your next chat, we'll have to call it there. But such a delight to speak to you both. And have I missed something? Are you Twitch streamers as well in the background, or what is all that behind you? Is that the lights from the Revelation video?
Oh, that's actually a stage scrim.
Yeah,
it is a scrim.
Yeah. But also, just before we came on, you had a follow from an account called Nearly Gamers.
Is that you?
It is.
It's us.
Spying and seeing if this guy going to be any good. No, he's got a grey beanie on. Great. Cool. Is he going to take the piss out of our music videos or what?
No, but I'd like to say thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's been awesome.
And I think we should arrange to do this again at more length next time.
No, I would love to. Absolutely. We've got to make sure we get Chris and Kieran involved too, and dive in, because I'd love to chat much like you did and tried to, rather, with Dan before you brought it back to your hometown as opposed to the bar. But I'm all about really just shooting the shit for a few hours and just diving in. And but just to get these 25 minutes is wonderful, and a great introduction. And the fact that you said that brings me a lot of warmth. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Awesome. No problem at all.
All right, have a great rest of your night and get some bloody sleep when you can.
Thanks, will do.
Cheers, you two. Ciao for now.
See you later.
Take care. Bye.
They are absolute sweethearts, and I cannot wait. I'm doing this again. I'm just picking up anything randomly next to me. Okay. I cannot wait to converse with them at length and get Carl Pilkington involved as well. That is going to be sweet. Well, Carl's cousin, to be clear. All right. Whatever you do the rest of your day, and as always, please remember that I've got to switch to the extra screen. Thank you for the reminder. Look after yourself. I hope there's some fun and smiles involved in the rest of it too, because we've got to cherish that positive. I really appreciate your time. For now, cheerio. This intro and extra was something.